Hello, my name is Keshwani. That's K-E-S-H-W-A-N-I, Keshwani. We are here because we want to prepare for SAT. We have been solving SAT math problems out of this book here, the official SAT study guide. If you do not own this book already, purchase one immediately. You're going to need it. The problem that we are about to solve is the one that you will find on page number 908. Please turn to it. Page 908, and today is our lesson number 130. Let's take a look at it. Problem number 19 and problem number 20. They are both difficult problems, particularly problem number 12. I'm going to start with number 20, not 12 rather, particularly number 20. I'm going to start with number 20 actually. Before we actually deal with number 20, question number 20, let's talk about what this problem is dealing with. What concept is it dealing with? Problem number 20 is dealing with the concept of 30, 60. It deals with the concept of 30, 60, 90 triangle. 30, 60, 90 triangle. But before we talk about that part, let's talk about something simpler. Let's talk about an isosceles triangle. A 45, 90 triangle. Do you know the ratio of the sides? What's the ratio of the sides here in a 45, 90 triangle? For example, if this side is 1, and because this is 45 degrees and this is 45 degrees, the opposite sides are going to be equal to each other, which means this side is also 1. So if these two sides are 1, what's going to be the hypotenuse? The hypotenuse is simply going to be, hypotenuse, call it x here. X is going to be, hypotenuse squared is going to be 1 squared plus 1 squared, which is 2, and therefore x equals root 2. X equals root 2. Now what we need to understand is that that's the ratio of the sides. For example, in other words, if instead of 1, if this side happens to be 5 times as much, this side is going to be 5 times as much, and so is this side. On the other hand, if this side happens to be 57 times as much, then this side is going to be 57 times as much, and this side, instead of being root 2, is going to be root 2 times 57. So they are in the ratio of 1 to 1 to root 2. The same exact thing we have to understand here. And that's something you have to memorize, you just have to know. Do you understand? You will have to know. There are several facts that you have to know, that you have to have at your fingertips. There is a mnemonic device for it, and that's what I'm going to talk about now. Before we talk about the mnemonic device, let's first make sure that we understand the word mnemonic. What's a mnemonic? I'm digressing here. What's a mnemonic? A mnemonic is a memory device. I'm looking at my list here to see if I ever covered this word in our vocabulary videos. I don't know if I did or not, because it's actually a very simple word. No, it's not I never talked about it in the vocabulary videos. Mnemonic, as I said, is a memory device. Now this trick I use, it works for me, and you listen to it, and if you find it worthwhile, if it works for you, then use it. In the previous example, in a 45, 90 triangle, in a 45, 90 triangle, this was 45, this was 45, and this was 90. How many different angles do we see? How many different kind of angles do we see? We see only two kinds of angles. We see a 45 angle and a 90 angle. A 45 angle and a 90 angle. Since there are only two kinds of angles, this is what I do. Since there are only two kinds of angles, we put down 1 and 2. And then you take your last number and you put a square root sign on it. Once you put the square root sign, you arrange them in order. This is the smaller one, this is the larger one. So larger one is going to face the largest angle here, 90 degrees. This becomes root 2 and this becomes 1 and 1. The same exact trick would work for 30, 60, 90 triangle. In a 30, 60, 90 triangle, 30, 60, 90 triangle, as we can clearly see, we have three kinds of angles, 30, 60 and 90. So here we go. 1, 2, 3. Take the last number and put a square root sign on it. After you put the square root sign on the last number, arrange them in order from the least to the greatest. The smallest one is 1, then root 3, and then 2. 2, being the largest number, will face the largest angle, which is this part right here, 90 degrees. So 2 will face the largest angle. 1, being the smallest number, will face the smallest angle. Here the smallest angle is 30, so this is 1. Actually mine is not drawn to scale. Let me change this thing. I didn't mean to put 60 over there. 60 should belong here, because this is the longer side. And this will be the 30, it faces the smallest side, which is 1. And then we are left with root 3, which goes here. There you go. 30, 60, 90 triangle. In the 30, 60, 90 triangle, the sides are in the ratio of 1 to root 3 to 2. 2 is the biggest side, it faces the 90 degree. Then the root 3, which faces the 60 degree, is facing the 60 degrees. 2 is facing the 90 degrees, and so on and so forth. Do you understand? Now that you understand that part, now we are ready to tackle problem number 20. Without this concept, we cannot solve number 20. So let's do it. Let's do it. We're given a picture which looks something like this. It's a parallelogram. It's a parallelogram, and we are told it starts from here, A, B, C, and D. Let's see what we are told. We are told the picture is not drawn to scale, first of all, so that's fine. The 5 line segments in the picture above are all congruent. Well, that's very important. They are all congruent. What does it mean? It means they are all equal to each other. 5 lines are equal to each other, which means line AB. Even though mine, the way I drew it, it doesn't look like it, it's because it's not drawn to scale. AB equals AD, and that equals BD. What does it tell us? AD equals BD, or AD equals AB, and that equals BD. What does it tell us? It tells us that the triangle, this tells us that the triangle ABD is an equilateral triangle. It is an equilateral triangle. And what do we know about an equilateral triangle? We know some of the angles in any triangle is 180. And in an equilateral triangle, all of the 3 sides are equal to each other, and so are all the 3 angles. All of these 3 angles are equal to each other because the 3 sides are equal to each other. And since they have to add up to 180, 180 divided by 3 is 60. Each angle is 60 degrees. Now let's move on to triangle BCD. In triangle BCD, BC, we are told, is equal to CD, which we are told is equal to BD. Again, we find that triangle BCD is an equilateral triangle because the 3 sides are equal to each other. One more time, therefore this angle is equal to 60, this angle is equal to 60, and this angle is equal to 60. Okay, stay with me in the story. Stay with me in the story because we're going someplace with it. Now what we're going to do is, so that's the first part you have to understand. Now what we're going to do is, we're going to connect point A to point C. I'm going to use a different color so you can see it. Hopefully a little bit easier. When we connect it like this, what we have to understand is that this blue line that I just drew from A to C, line AC, will bisect line AC will bisect angle A and angle C. What does bisect mean? It means cut in half. So this is, we have to erase this 60 part here. This becomes 30, this becomes 30, this becomes 30, and this becomes 30. As I said, stay with me in the story. We're getting to the end very soon. Now I want you to look at triangle AB. Let's give this point a name. This point that we see here, where the line BD and AC intersect, that point is the exact middle, exact center of the whole picture. Since it's the middle point, right in the middle of the thing, I'm going to call it M. M for the middle of the whole picture. Triangle ABM. I want you to look at triangle ABM. Okay, again, just keep listening. Listen very carefully. In triangle ABM, this triangle here is 30. Just draw it here, ABM right here. This is A, this is 30, this is B, or rather this is B, which is 60, and this is point M. Now if this is 30 and if this is 60, right here, this is 30 degrees and this is 60 degrees, 30 plus 60 is 90, which means this angle would have to be 90 also, because sum of the angles in a triangle is 180. Therefore, what we have here is a 30, 60, 90 triangle. It's a 30 triangle ABM is a 30, 60, 90 triangle. And what do we know about 30, 60, 90 triangle? We know that in a 30, 60, 90 triangle, the sides are in the ratio of, I don't know, I don't memorize it, I just go like this. 1, 2, 3, there are 3 kinds of angles, put the square root sign on the last one, and arrange them in order. This is the highest one, 2 is the biggest one, so 2 will go opposite to 90 degrees, which is this. 1 is the smallest number, which will face 30 degrees, which is this, M to B. M to B. You see, M to B faces 30 degrees, so B to M is going to be 1. B to M is going to be 1. A to M, which A to M faces 60 degrees, which is going to be root 3. A to M, which is root 3. A to M is going to be root 3. And what is the question asking? The question is asking, what is the length of BD? Well, we are almost done. BD, really? What's the ratio of the length of AC to BD? Sorry, they're not asking for the length of BD because they told us what BD was. No, they're not looking for the ratio. They're not asking how much is BD, because it is impossible to figure out how much is BD because we do not know the length of the other sides. BD of course is the same length as all the other sides, all the other 4 sides, but there is no way to figure out exactly what it is. That's not what they're asking. They're looking for the ratio of the length AC to BD. Let's find out. I need the room, so I need to erase this part. We're looking for the ratio of BD to, what's the ratio of the length AC to BD? For BD, B to D, if it's 1, which it is in our triangle, the way I drew it, we figure out that, sorry, BD is not 1, I take it back. B to M is 1, you see, B to M is 1, B to M is 1, and M to D is going to be another 1, so 1 plus 1, B to D is 1 plus 1. And A to C is equal to A to M plus M to C. And A to M in a 30, 60, 90 triangle we just found out is root 3, and the other guy is root 3. So it is 2 times root 3. It is 2 times root 3. 2 times root 3, and the bottom B to D is 2. And therefore 2 cancels out, and they are in the ratio of root 3 to 1. The answer is they are in the ratio of root 3 to 1. Let's see how they give you. There you go, root 3 to 1. The answer is B. The answer is B. Now let's do number 19. Number 19, I'm just going to get out of the frame only for a second. I'm still here. I am not going anywhere. Oh boy, this was something. Number 19. We're done with this one, okay? I'll give you a chance actually in case you need to do something with it. Number 19. It says cost of maintenance of an automobile increases each year by 10%. Alright? Cost goes up by 10% each year. Andrew paid $300 this year for the maintenance of his car. So he paid the base price, the base value is $300. $300 is what we start out with. question is, if C is the cost of the maintenance on Andrew's car n years from now, if the cost C for maintenance on Andrew's automobile n years from now is given by this function that they give you, the question is, what's the value of X? Let's find out. The function that they give us is this. Cost is a function of X, which is what they're looking for here, the value of X, and it's 300 times X raised to n. Let's find out, shall we? I'm going to erase this part for the time being. We're not going to even look at the formula. We're just going to talk. We're just going to talk, you and I. First of all, to start out with, forget about the fact that it's $300. Keep your life simple. Ask yourself, what would have been the case had it been simply $1? If you have $1, and if it goes up by 10% each year, at the end of first year, that $1 will become $1.1 because it will go up by 10%. At the end of second year, we'll have this 1.1 plus 10% of 1.1. That 1.1 is the starting point, which is the end of the first year and the beginning of the second year. Therefore, at the end of second year, it will have gone up by 1.1. $10 will go up by another 10%. So $10 plus 10% of $10, which is simply, I'm going to continue this here, 1.1 plus 10% of 1.1, which is 0.01 times 1.1. And if we take out 1.1 common, here we end up with 1, and here we end up with 0.01, which is again same as 1.1, which boils down to 1.1 raised to 2. Why 2? Because it's the end of the second year. So at the end of first year, the amount is 1.1 raised to 1, because it's the end of the first year. Now it's going to be 1.1 raised to 2. Similarly, at the end of third year, it is going to be 1.1 raised to 3, and so on and so forth. At the end of nth year is going to be 1.1 raised to n. That's going to be your cost, 1.1 raised to n. Now we can go and take a look at our formula. Formula that they give us is this. C, which is a function of n, which is number of years, is 300 times x raised to n. This 300 part is the fact that in our case the starting value was $1. We dealt with $1. So instead of $1, if you had $2, this would be twice as much. Instead of $1 in the beginning, if you had $10, it will be 10 times as much. And instead of $1, if you have $300, this would simply be 300 times as much. So whatever we see here is going to be 300 times 1.1 raised to n. Now compare this part to what they're giving us. 300 times 1.1 raised to n. What do you suppose the value of x is? X equals 1.1. Voila, that's it. X equals, this implies that x equals 1.1. The answer is C. That's it. I will see you tomorrow, or we'll begin the new math section, which is something that you will find, I don't know what page number, but section number 8. Okay? I'll see you tomorrow. Okay? Bye now.